Today is part two of our Did You Know series, where we cover little known but powerful features throughout pipeline. Today's topic is all about reporting, specifically things we find people don't know or often miss related to different reporting options throughout pipeline. We'll start here on the homepage. I think the homepage is a great place to start, maybe selfishly because it's one of my favorite areas, but really because it's a great place to start when you log into pipeline. Let's say I log into pipeline and know exactly where I need to be. I need to get to an active transaction I've been working on. To do that, I might go to the transactions page and look through this list, but I don't have to do all that. Instead, on the homepage, notice this area for searching active transactions. Here, my cursor is already blinking in the search area, waiting for me to start typing so I can just get right to it. Say I'm working on a transaction on Oak Street. I can type O-A-K, and as I start to type, you'll notice Pipeline is making suggestions for me. When I see my transaction pop up in the list, I can click it or use the arrow keys on my keyboard to arrow down to it and hit enter. So there, just by logging into Pipeline and typing a character or two, without even using my mouse, I can get right to the transaction I'm working on. It's a cool feature if I know exactly what transaction needs my attention, but on the flip side, maybe I don't come into Pipeline with a plan. Instead, I need to make a quick assessment over what area needs my attention, and then I'll get to it from there. The best way to do that is to use your stat lists here on the homepage. Admittedly, these stat lists are the top reason the homepage is one of my favorite areas. Your stat lists give you a quick snapshot of your most important transactions, tasks, and documents to help you decide exactly what needs your greatest attention at the moment. Each tile you see here has an expandable list. So with more information related to the stats. So for example, I can click this transaction closing in 7 days to go straight to that list on the transaction page, but I can also click show list to expand that list of transactions right here on the home page. If the transaction's closing today, I'll see it highlighted in red here with the red flag out beside it. I can also see the checklist completion ratio. If I wanted to, I could close this list to collapse it, but I can also just leave it expanded this way. So when I return to the homepage later, say I move away and start doing some work in Pipeline and come back, that list will always be expanded and open there for me to quickly view. Same goes for each tile down here. I can either click to go to the list on the page or expand the list to view it here on the home page. I can close it if I want to or leave it open so it's always open for me to quickly view. This really allows you to customize the homepage as your control center so that depending on your workflow, you can choose to show different areas. So when you log in, you can always get right to the areas that need your greatest attention. And if there's some other set of transactions or tasks you need to keep track of, remember you can save a shortcut. We talk about this often, so I won't go deeply into it now, but you can save a shortcut to different tasks, different transactions, or different unreviewed docs that you need to quickly get to from the homepage. Since you can create shortcuts for any search for transactions, tasks, or unreviewed docs, you can always set up a quick link to get back to those quickly here. Next, we'll look at the transactions page. It's likely one of the areas where you spend the most time. The transactions page is a report in itself. Here you have full control to do ad hoc reporting because you can use the search options to fine-tune your list and display exactly the transactions you need to see. Since we talk about searching often also, I won't go into that deeply now, but let's look at one example. Say you want to report on transactions for an agent that have closed or are closing this year. You can use Power Search to search by the agent. Let's say I'm searching for Otis's transactions. This is going to give me a full list of Otis's transactions in my account. I can use the search options at the top of the page to dwindle down that list to get just say my closed transactions or transactions that are closing this year. Search by close date and then this year. And now I have a report of Otis's transactions for transactions that are closing or have closed this year. As you run your search, you also have some options for determining what's displayed here in the list. You can use sort to sort by a particular date and then display that date in place of the close column. So any date you sort by here will take the place of the close date and display it on your transactions list. You can also choose what columns to show. So as you can see, I'm showing the sale price, the buyer, and the seller. If I wanted to, I could take the sale price away and show the location. So I really have the option to pare down exactly what columns I see here. So we won't go much deeper into the ad hoc reporting options that you have here. We have a great previous Pipeline Pro webinar called Ad Hoc Searching and Reporting. If you go to our help site, you can search by the word recordings here and get to this article for Pipeline Pro webinar recordings. The ad hoc searching and reporting webinar, highly recommend checking that out. It's all about the ad hoc reporting options that you have on the transactions page here. But what I'd like to focus on today is more specifically about after you've run your search, what you can do to save and share the report that you've ran. You have a few different options for that. First, you can save a shortcut. We talk about this a lot. You can save your shortcut to easily access this list later from your shortcuts area. You can also print the page. So using just your browser standard print function, if you opt to print there, you can print this page very nicely here. Now, we are paperless, so I have to mention you can also save this as a PDF. Most computers give you the option to choose your PDF printer as a printer when you're printing out, and you could just save this as a PDF to shoot it off to someone in a message or save it to your files, whatever's best for you. And that's really the same for all pages in Pipeline. The transactions page prints really nicely, showing the tasks at the top of the page and the rest of the transaction down below. Some admins like to print off their task list every day just to have a physical copy of their tasks that are due. So if you're ever interested in sharing something or saving something throughout Pipeline, remember that you always have that print option, and the page will print nicely formatted for you. Another way that you can save or share these reports is by the URL at the top of the page. This URL is always unique when you're searching throughout Pipeline. So you could save this URL as a bookmark, say, on your favorites bar or in one of your folders here, so that you can easily access this when you're not in Pipeline later. You can also copy and paste this URL and share it with someone on your team, someone else in your Pipeline account, and that will take them straight to this list also. So you can do that with any reports that you run here on the transactions page, the task page, any of the pages in Pipeline. Just to show you an example, I've set up this folder for a few transaction reports that I like to run frequently. These aren't important enough to be shortcuts in my account, but I do need to pull them up often. So you can see I've got a report for a couple agents transactions, a couple different types of reports for transactions closing this month. If I'm a managing broker and I save the bookmark or the URL for my unreviewed docs, I can say, like in this example here, click straight to go to my docs awaiting my review and start working straight on my unreviewed docs without having to navigate through Pipeline to get where I need to go. So bookmarks are a great way to share reports with others or even save them for yourself for later. You can also, once you've ran your search, download a spreadsheet of your search results. You have two different options when you download a spreadsheet of your search results. You can download only the displayed columns here on the page, or you can download all transaction columns. So I've already done that here for this list of search results. Let me show you here. You can see this is the transactions for Otis. This is just his displayed columns, and this is all columns. So this report is much longer. It shows a lot of different fields from the transaction. Agents really like it sometimes for admins to run this report for them because it shows their seller and buyer contact information. But just remember, if you were to share this with an agent, you'll want to look through, and this goes for any report and pipeline, you'll want to look through the different columns that show and make sure you want to share that with the agent. For example, in this transaction spreadsheet, I might delete the admin info column so that it doesn't share with the agent when I send it over to them. And as we're talking about spreadsheet downloads, I also just want to mention quickly, you have these pre-built spreadsheet downloads. They look just the same as the spreadsheet we were just looking at. One holds a full spreadsheet. It's all transactions ever added to your account. The other two are transactions added during that year. So you also have the option to download those spreadsheets. When you do that, you'll get a complete list of all transactions in your account, and you can sort and filter this list down further if you want to outside of pipeline. Next, let's look at reports, little known but powerful reports on the reports page. First, the usage by agent report. You'll see that option here in the left menu. You can run a usage by agent report during your desired period to view the activities your agents have performed in pipeline. To look at an example here, this report shows the agent's last login, as well as a few different stats for different activities they performed during the period you selected. For example, in this report, you can see Kendall has uploaded 14 docs. Mark has closed 2 transactions. So this report really gives you a good idea of what your agents are doing in pipeline during your reporting period. You also have the option to change that. So you can even run the report by a custom date range to see what your agents have done in a particular day. Really gives you a good look at what's going on in your account. Another awesome report in pipeline is the comparative production report. The comparative production report lets you measure seasonal performance by comparing figures from month to month or year to year. You can run it company-wide or by location or even by a specific agent. Let's say if we wanted to run a comparative production report for Otis specifically. Here is a look at what that looks like. It shows separate sections to compare different figures like sales volume, sales average, transactions closed, and separate rows for each month's totals, including the total amount and variance from the month in the previous year. At the bottom of each section, you'll see a row for each year's totals. The comparative production report is an awesome report for measuring your seasonal performance. Definitely recommend checking that out. You can even run it by 5 years or all years. And something else I have to mention is for any reports that you're running throughout pipeline, you always have this little helper here at the top of the page. If you click the eye icon, it will expand some more information about the report. And you can also click learn more here to open the article in our help site, maybe view a video and get a complete look at how to run that report and all the information about that report. So remember that when you're navigating through the different reports here in pipeline, you always have that little helper at the top of the page. And last but not least, for commission module customers, just a reminder that agents can run their own financial reports from within pipeline. So let's say I'm an agent inside of an agent's account now. There's a few different reporting options that agents have. On transactions, agents will always see their specific financial info for the transaction. They will not see others' financial info or the company level info, but they will be able to see their commission figures. They can also download a commission statement from the transaction. It includes their year-to-date figures and their figures for this specific transaction. They also have the ability to download their personal commissions. If they click their name in the upper right and then personal profile, on the left menu, you've got your commissions. Here you can choose the closing period and the report type. So if an agent selects this summary option, they'll get a report like this that includes just a summary as a PDF of all their transactions during the current fiscal year and some different figures related to them. They can also choose the detailed report, which is going to give them a report similar to what you download with the agent commissions report. It'll include a line by line each transaction during their current fiscal year. So those are great reporting options for your agents. They have full control over just downloading from their account. And additionally, just to let you know, similar to the agent commission reports that agents can download in their account, you have the option to send them automatically a monthly production summary that looks like this, and they receive each month. If you'd like to send out this monthly production summary, you can do that by clicking your name in the upper right, clicking admin settings, and under the email settings area, check the option to email monthly production summary to agents. And that'll ensure each of your agents get a monthly production summary every month. And that is it for reporting.